Hey, what's going on, guys? If you missed the last video where we took a look at the Super Granzort kit from Tron Models, today we're going to be taking a look at another one from the series, but I don't have the actual box for this kit, and I don't even have the actual instructions. I just got the paper instructions here, like a printed copy here for the Super Aquabeat. But we'll take a look at the contents here briefly because this is not like the packaged contents. And also, as I mentioned in the review of the Super Granzort, these are not the series of Granzort kits that we actually sell here at USA Gundam Store. If you're interested in Granzort model kits, we do have a bunch of the Motoroid series for one, and there's a big new like Super Granzort figure, I believe, coming out as well. So if you guys are fans, definitely worth checking out. Some really interesting designs, very kind of like old school kind of style to them. They have a particular style to them. I'm not exactly sure what you might call it, but anyway, super robot, sort of Super Sentai kind of in a way, leaning at least like to my untrained eyes perhaps. But anyway, interesting kits. Let's go ahead and check out the Super Aquabeat here for today's video. So yeah, because this is just a shipping blank box here, there's nothing really to show on the outside. But if you saw my review of the Super Granzort, then you kind of have an idea of what the boxes typically look like. I also unfortunately only have the printout copy of the instructions here, but again, you can kind of see this is what the box would look like. Obviously they're in full color of the Super Aquabeat, and it's just going to go through basically kind of the same stuff that we saw in that manual. You do have some text here in Japanese, as well as a little image of the pilot there. Images what the kit is going to look like transformed in both modes. We've also got the parts list on the inside and all of our instructions for putting the kit together. And it does look like, even for this one as well, for each section, it does let you know which runners are used for each section of the build, which is nice. So after all that, there's instructions for the transformation. And then in the very end, again, there's a little bit about like a coming soon here for that, or there's the Super Granzort, and there's another one there coming soon. And we've got a nice big photo. In this case, I just have the black and white one there, but you can imagine what that is going to look like. So we've got some more interesting contents inside, but this really jumped out at me. This effect part that we have for this, that looks really, really cool. You can see it's kind of a clear orange plastic with a really nice kind of red gradient on there, and the sparkles and everything too. It looks really nice there. And let's see what else we got inside. We're unfortunately not going to have that backing piece that we had with the Super Granzort, but we do also have the base, which is a different base. You can see it's a different design here for this one, and you may be saying like, of course it's a different design, but again, remember guys, I don't know anything about this series, so I would have expected it's just the same base, but it's different kind of iconography here on this one. It looks really nice, very cool. And then we do also have in here, once again, this mirror finish sticker sheet for the stickers that are going to go underneath the clear parts. That'll make those look nice and bright and shiny, so that's really good. So even though we don't have that backing part, we do still have the like support stands for that, so it's just kind of pretty much going to be useless in my case. Typically those would be for that backing display piece, but here is actually runner T2, but this is going to be the clear parts there for the display stand as well. Runner A is going to be here in a clear kind of teal aqua color, which looks really nice, and you can see is a really nice detail kind of designed into the back of these clear parts, so those are going to look really good on the kit. And the next few runners here are all going to be armor pieces here in white. So there's runner B with some of the ornamental parts like for the head and the face and the torso there and all that. Runner C we have two of, some parts there for the shoulders there obviously, and other parts for the arms I would guess. Runner D here as well, another smaller runner there, some more white armor parts. Runner E is going to be some of our blue armor parts here. And then runner F1 we have two of for some more parts here in white. But then runner G is back to this really nice color of blue, and H is back to white again, but this is going to be the last of our white parts here for the kit. Runner I is some more of the blue armor parts there, and runner J1 and J2 here. Runner J2 is just a few parts there in red. J1, though, you can see includes parts there for the face, and these are molded in black with some red pre-painted on there for the eyes. Very cool. Runners K and L then, some more large pieces of blue armor there, those ones for the legs. Runners M and N are going to be all of our yellow parts here for the kit in this very kind of like orangish yellow color. It looks really nice. Runner O we have two of for some mechanical parts here in gray, and the same thing here for runner P as well. Some more joints and bits like that all in gray there as well. And that's continued on to runner Q2. And runner S being our runner of all of our parts there for the hands. Last but not least, runner X is a few parts here in a kind of purplish gray, and then I lied before when I said that was the end of the white. Actually, runner Y is the last couple of parts here in white, and that's it for all of the runners. So let's go ahead and get it put together and we'll check it out. All right, and then here he is all built up. I gotta say, really enjoyed this one. I actually kind of like the design of this one more than the Granzort, I think, in different parts of it. Really cool, sort of aquatic vibe, obviously, to the design overall, and just once again, the size is really, really nice on these. There are still basically the same pros and cons that we saw with the Granzort kit, but in this case, I do actually find this to be maybe a little bit more solid, so I don't know if anything changed in the production process from one kit to the next, but it certainly feels like this one's a little bit more solid in the way that it feels, but it's a very small difference. But once again, here we've got some really nice details, really nice color separation, and just a fun size. I think it's gonna have a really nice presence in your display just due to that large size of the kit. So let's go ahead and take a look at our accessories here to start off. And the accessory loadout with this is gonna be pretty much like what we saw with the Granzort, where we have a few different fixed pose hand option parts here. We've got a set of closed fists. We also got a set of open expressive hands here, and like with all of the hands, we do have a joint at the wrist as well. And then our weapon holding hands here. And in this case, we actually do have two weapons that we can hold. We got two of these shorter swords, and they are still going to be quite long. They're just going to be a little bit shorter than what we saw like with the Granzort's sword. Here you can see, just like for a comparison, they're slightly shorter, but the two of these can just be held in the hand, and again, some nice color separation with those white parts. But then we can also join them together with this connection piece here. Just put that on and they fit in together end to end there like that. And then you get this much longer double-ended sword weapon here like so, with this one having an overall length of about 38 centimeters in all. And then once again, we do have this display stand, as we saw with the Granzort. This is only for displaying it when it's in the transformed state. As you can see, this very short kind of like connection piece here doesn't do anything to hold up the kit or anything if you wanted to have it in a jumping or flying pose. Any kind of elevated pose in like robot form like this isn't really going to do anything for you. You could just take this out and just use this as a display base and just have the kit just standing on top of it there, something like that. You could certainly do with this, but otherwise, as I said, we do have like the feet parts here for holding up the backing, which I can only assume it would be included with the kit had this been like the actual release like we saw with the Granzort. But again, because this is like kind of an early copy, it didn't have that aspect of it, but I would assume that that would be included, and it would have this logo for the back of that like holographic backing card for it. Now lastly, as for this effect part, this is actually an effect part for the Granzort's sword. So if you already had this kit, which obviously we do, you can actually take out the blade and swap the regular yellow blade here that I have on here that I'm having a hard time getting off. We can swap that here for this really cool flaming sword effect. And this effect part does look really cool, so I'll show you just kind of briefly how that's going to look there on the Granzort kit. It does look really, really cool. Definitely a nice upgrade that you will have included as like a bonus if you're going to be getting this Aquabeat kit. If you already have the Granzort kit, then that's a really nice kind of bonus to have included in there with this one. And as for the main kit then, as I said, there's going to be basically the same pros and cons that we saw with the Granzort. The articulation is going to be a little bit limited in certain areas. We still don't have any way to plug this up onto an action base for elevated poses, but the clear parts do look really nice. I think they look even better on this kit because they're in like a lighter color. With the Granzort, it's like a little bit of a darker blue, so even though you had that mirror finish sticker underneath, it still wasn't looking as bright as these are looking. And with this being like a aqua sort of water themed, it does make sense that you'd have this really nice bright blue there. So I think that looks really good, the clear parts on there. There is a teeny tiny clear part up in the head there as well, which is pretty much invisible. There really isn't almost any point to that even being clear, but there is a clear part there as well. The pre-painted parts there for the eyes, both there in the like chest and in the head as well, those will look pretty good there as well. Those could have been a little bit brighter had they been a little bit more of like a shinier metallic, even like a lighter almost pink kind of color instead of red, I suppose. But the clear parts look great, and the kit just overall does feel, as I said, a little bit more solid this time around. You have the addition of some like kind of side skirt parts sort of, which as you can see are just attached onto the side of the thigh. So those will have a little bit of movement front, back, up and down there. A little bit of front skirt here, just this little part that will kind of move up and down a little bit. These sort of like sword looking parts here on the side of the arm also have a little bit of movement in and out like that, and you can also rotate them around there like so if you wanted for additional kind of like melee weapons on there. So that's kind of interesting. And then the legs here, I really like the leg designs with the fin kind of sticking out to the side. You've got the fin out the back as well. Everything's very aquatic theme. You've even got like the clear parts on the shoulder, if you notice, like water droplet shaped and everything. So Pretty fun design here up underneath the feet. You got some detail there. Once again, the front of the foot is separately articulated. You got some nice articulation here at the ankle, front, back, side to side. So even though you're going to be limited to keeping the kit on the ground, you are still able to do some really nice posing with this. And again, like we saw before, we do have double joints in the elbows and knees, but it is going to be a little bit limited. That said, I will say the knee joint definitely bends a lot further on this kit than what we saw on the Granzort. So we're getting a little bit more out of that double joint there at the knee. But then for the elbow here, you can see when we bend that, you're still only getting about 90 degrees barely. And again, we have that nice hinged wrist other than the hands just being on ball joints. And also this whole blue section of the forearm will slide back and forth as well. So that actually slides to the front a little bit like that, and you can got a little bit of movement there for that. But again, so sort of like for like punching or melee kind of poses or something, that will slide it to the front. Otherwise, it just slides back like so. So again, if you wanted to have this out, something like that, you could do that. Very kind of like fish head looking shaped parts here for the side of the arm. So anyway, and then just to give you guys a look at the two of these kits together, they're going to be very similar, of course, in just the size and kind of overall bulk and everything. So I think they make a really good set, the two of them. I know there are other, I don't even know what you would call them anyway, other robots in the series that do exist, that exist in the Moderoid series, but although in this series of model kits, I don't know what else they did go on to make. I would have to check, but just so you can see the two of them together, they do look pretty awesome. And as we wrap up the review, then here taking a look at the kit in a few different poses, we will also take a look at it transformed. I think the transformation of these kits is kind of goofy looking. Anyway, it's certainly different. It's certainly something that is kind of a little bit different flavor from the type of stuff that I'm normally looking at. But as I said in the review of the Granzort, I really enjoy building different stuff like this just because it's different, it's unique, and so it's fun to check out these kits. I did really enjoy taking a look at both of these kits, and as I mentioned in that previous review, I do think that now at this point, I think I will take a look at one of the Moderoid kits. I wasn't really planning on it, but I did really enjoy these two, and so I think I'll definitely have to check out at least one of the Moderoid kits from the series as well. So yeah, if you guys have recommendations, do let me know in the comment section, but really cool kits. Definitely something worth checking out, guys, just if you just wanted, like I said, just like I have been talking about, just something a little bit different to add a little variety in your model building life. I think it's always good to be able to check out different stuff like this. So the other thing that I like about these in particular is the size, and that's one thing that is yet to be determined for me when reviewing the Moderoid kits. As far as I know, those are smaller. So, I mean, will I enjoy them as much in a smaller size? I'm not sure. It's definitely one thing that I like about these is just kind of how big they are, and they look just really cool. They're very kind of commanding presence with the size and obviously the design and everything as well. So even though it's unfortunately kind of difficult to get them in any kind of elevated pose, just without any ability built in to plug them up onto like an action base or something like that, despite a couple points where the articulation is not as strong as I would like it to be, although it's definitely better in this one than we saw with the Granzort. And overall, I felt the fitting of everything was also a little bit better with this one. That said, I will say it did still have the exact same issue where the clear parts tend to fall out, so I did go ahead and glue most of the clear parts in place just because those do have a tendency to want to just fit. They're just like kind of very loose in there, unfortunately, so they just want to fall out. But overall, I found the fit with this one to be pretty good. So yeah, definitely recommended for you guys. And that's going to do it for the review. If you enjoyed taking a look at these couple of kits, make sure to leave a like. I really appreciate your guys' support. If you're not yet subscribed, you can subscribe as well. And if you want to check out some of the Moderoid kits from this series and other Moderoid kits and other mecha model kits, paints, tools, supplies, all that good stuff, you can check the link in the video description down below to USA Gundam Store. We've got all sorts of great stuff there on the site. Really appreciate all of the support from you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope y'all are doing well. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.